Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my little corner of the internet. I hope everyone is feeling great today. I am feeling good. I'm feeling like really, really good today. Um, I just thought I would hop in here today and discuss with you guys a rather uncomfortable topic, as you can see my title. I feel like a lot of people don't include the case I'm about to argue with you guys about in terms of how people raise their kids to be adults. And I want us to look at the difference in which that is done between girls and boys, women and men. And I want you to see often how much a lot of the times this is the reason why marriages collapse in real time. And I also want to argue that it's not often about having a lack of love, having a lack of money, or having a lack of communication. In most times, it just goes back to it being rather a fundamental and societal wide failure in how our parents prepare us for adulthood. So before you press that dislike button, just hear me out. I want you to think about this with me, okay? So, from the time a little girl is old enough to hold a doll, what are we teaching her? We give baby girls dolls to teach them nurturing, you know. We buy them toy kitchens, vacuums, and as we may be like, we are subconsciously or most often consciously teaching her, training her. Let me just say, we are like subconsciously training her. So this starts from a very young age, guys. It starts from, I don't know, as early as 4 or 5. Do you see how deep this thing is like put into girl kids, like training her how to nurture kids, how to take care of a household and things like. And oftentimes you find even the words that we'll be using in the household will be like, when you find a husband, you know, when you're a wife, you will know how to, they make women aspire to marriage. They make little girls aspire to marriages and make it look like it's one of the things that they need to do in life, things that they need to, something rather, that they will have to, go through in life. It's almost like her whole life is a slow, steady curriculum on how to be a good mom and a good wife, if I may say. She learns emotional intelligence. So yeah, she learns emotional intelligence by being taught how to, express herself, how to express her feelings. And don't mind me looking up and down there. I have my notes here, so I'm just referencing. So yeah, we oftentimes like we encourage them to talk. We encourage them to tell us how their feelings. Um, she learns about all the domestic arrangements, often by osmosis, if I may. And she's taught to be respectful, to be accommodating, and to be emotionally logistical backbone of a future family. These are the things that girls are being taught in their homes from a very young age, right? And they're being taught all this so that they know that in future it's gonna come in handy, all right? And yeah, and they're just teaching her that it's something that is important, that you know so I want us to look at this from another perspective here. So I already told you about the girl child, and what I feel is yeah, what I feel is she's being indoctrinated, or is being taught about how to be a wife and a mother and a backbone of a family, rather, from a very young age. Now, let's see how a boy child is being raised. Let's look at that little boy, okay? What is his curriculum? What are we systematically teaching him about being a husband and a father? We're just teaching him how to be strong, how to be a provider. Don't cry. just get a good job. Those are the things that, though, that is the curriculum of the boy child. They are not taught emotional intelligence. They are not taught how to be fathers. They are not taught nurturing. They are not taught how to speak how they feel. They're not taught to cry and just, um, talk about their feelings. They're not taught any of that. So, so you fast forward. Let's fast forward now. This well-trained, emotionally intelligent woman meets this man who has been taught to provide and protect. All right. The little story I wrote. They get married. The wedding is the finish line she's been running towards her whole life. But for him, it's the starting pistol of a race he didn't even know he was signed up for. This is all something new to him, because he's only been taught how to be a provider, how to be what. So he doesn't know how to show up in the marriage because the emotional intelligence is, you know, it's lacking. And now this, okay, let me get to this point. Okay, now the marriage begins and the real time collapse starts. All right. Um, let's look at the mental load. She is automatically the CEO of the household. She tracks birthdays, grocery lists, doctor's appointments, his mother's feelings, the emotional temperature of the kids. He is an employee and needs constant direction. Honey, can you take out the trash? She's managing, not partnering. This isn't a failure of the man. This is a failure of his training. He was taught to see, he was never taught to see the mental load. Okay. I hope you're still with me about this because we're gonna go very long time together about this. So here's another scene I wrote. In the emotional labor, she's expected to be his therapist, his cheerleader, the keeper of the relationship. When he's stressed, he withdraws and gets angry because he was taught to suppress and not to process. Okay? When she's stressed, she's expected to manage her emotions so as not to burden him. The imbalance, it's staggering, guys. It's staggering. I haven't even went so far with my points, but you can already see the imbalance. It's a very big, yeah. This is the third scene. Fatherhood versus motherhood. She becomes a mother and is instantly submerged in a role she's been rehearsing for 25 or more years of her life. He becomes a father and is often a helper. Can you watch the kids as if they are her sole responsibility? He wasn't given dolls, he was given trucks. The nurturing muscle was never developed. It's not that men cannot naturally nurture or they cannot be trained to be nurturing from a young age. They steal that away from the boys when they treat them. You don't have to cry, you have to be strong. That's all he'll grow up ever knowing that he has to be. And that is exactly how he will show up in the marriage. Okay. And that's exactly where the imbalance goes. In terms of being there for the kids, all the burden goes to the woman because the woman has been trained to be nurturing. She has been trained to have emotional intelligence. She has been trained to speak out. But the opposite was done for the male. So it can never work out when these two people come together. There is always going to be someone who suffers. And I'm not saying it's only the woman who suffers, even the man suffers because he doesn't know how to show up. And it's really hard for him to understand what he's doing wrong. You understand? Because that was never taught to him. That was never something that was brought up to him to say, talk about your feelings, you know, resolve issues. Don't just show up as a provider. You know what I'm saying? You can be so much more. So it's a really It's really sad for both. And here's the controversial part, guys. We look at this dynamic and we blame her for being a nag, we blame him for being lazy. But these are just two people performing the scripts that they were given since childhood, you know. So, yeah, that's the gag. So, she was taught to be a wife to a man who doesn't exist, a man who is just as intuitively skilled at domestic and emotional life as she is. I mean, this is the dream. This is what she was told, right? And he was taught to be a man who provides a paycheck, while his wife is asking him to be to provide partnership and emotional life as she is. You know, so that's where the imbalance and the cracks they start happening. This is the deeper things before we get to the money, before we get to the communication, before we get to everything. It all starts with how someone was brought up, right? So the system is perfectly designed to create this result, right? Because they come together and they don't mix, right? The collapse isn't happening in the divorce court, it's happening on your couch, in your kitchen, in the silent resentment that builds when a trained manager is married to an unprepared employee. That is my hot take. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's just what it is. That's where the resentment starts. That's where, because now you came in with expectations, you understand, and you're not getting what you expected, and now those expectations are going to be um are going to be what how do I put it, they're going to be replaced by resentments. That's all it breeds, you know. Balance, you know, life is balance. If you don't balance things, they can never be like, they can never work out. So what is the answer, right? I think the answer would be that we need to stop with the one-sided training. Yep, we need to give our boys the baby dolls. We need to let them express their feelings. We need to, you know, and we need to teach our girls how to change a tire. We need to teach them how to negotiate salaries. Let there be like a balance, you know. So I wrote here in my little notes, as you know me, I love them notes. um, I said that we need to raise a generation of boys who see domestic labor and emotional intelligence not as the woman's work, but as a fundamental human skill for being a good partner and a parent. Because the collapse doesn't start from those normal things that people argue about in marriages. It starts from resentment because I feel like you're not showing up for me the way I expect you to. I feel like I'm carrying this load alone, you know? Um, so for those already in marriages, it means having the brutally honest conversation. It means men having the humility to go back to school to learn the skills they were never taught. And it means women having the patience to stop managing and start truly partnering, even when it's messy. So this is the great untold story of the modern marriage crisis, guys. Um, it's not that love dies. It's what we sent one partner to do and the other one to do, and when they get together, doesn't go it doesn't go their way. So okay, yeah. Well, I know this is a very charged topic, but do you agree that we socialize women or girls differently from the way that we do boys? And for you men in the comments, I'd like to know, were you taught these things, or were you led to just find out once you were in it, you know? And how is that going for you? What are the things that you learned growing up that you had to unlearn in order to make your marriage work? What are the things that you had to learn that were uncomfortable to you? And the same as for the women and stuff, you know? Same questions to you guys. I'm not bashing men, guys. I'm not bashing women. I'm just talking about a system that has been put in place for a very long time, and it's one of the reasons why marriages collapse, you know. And it's the truth. Before we get to the bills, before we get to the communication, you should communicate better. Before we get to all of those things, that's where it starts. That's where it starts, because one will resent the other for not showing up for them the way they expected them to. So yeah, that's my hot take on this. And yeah, a lot of people have left their marriages, have left their relationships because they don't want to put in the work, you know. So some things have to be done and some things have to be undone in order for you to, you know, like I was saying on my other video, I think I'm retracting back to that. But let me not do that. But some things you need to learn and some things you need to unlearn so that you can both live in harmony together. So yeah, like I was saying, men, tell us, do you feel like you got caught up when you were now in it? And you ladies also, do you feel like you were trained for, you know, a man who doesn't exist? You know? So I know it's a very controversial topic, but these are the kind of topics that we need to have. And as the new generation, we need to make everyone grow up so that when it's time for them to be together, everything is, everything goes well. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. With that being said, thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. And if you're looking for more controversial topics, do subscribe, turn on the notification bell for my channel, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you will leave your comments yeah, in the comment section. Like the video, subscribe, guys, and share the videos. I love you and have a good night. Bye.